Session 11, the new mental diet.
Back in the 1930s, a man named Gaylord Hauser shocked the medical world by coming out with a series of claims and statements that said that everything that we ate in some way affected our body. He said that everything that you eat is translated into something and has a positive or negative effect. And he wrote a book called The New Diet Does It. Now, in this session and in the previous sessions, we've been talking about the new mental diet. And just as everything that you eat has an effect on your physical body, everything that you take into your mind has an effect on your mental body, on what's going on inside you, which determines what happens around you. When we were talking a little bit earlier, we said that the power of suggestion is one of the most important powers in your life. The power of suggestion says that everything that you take in, everything that you think about, everything that you read, everything that you listen to, all of your conversations, radio, television, newspaper, books, papers, magazines, everything that you allow to influence your thinking affects your subconscious mind, affects your attitudes, your expectations, your values, your beliefs, and ultimately your potential as a human being. In fact, the great difference between human beings is not intelligence and not education and not opportunity. It is what they are feeding into their minds on a regular basis. Now, we also said, and it's the same thing, if you were to say, well, yes, I eat good food a lot of the time, but some of the time, or 50% of the time, I eat junk food. I eat food that's high in salt, high in sugar, low in nutrition, inert foods, dead foods, white flour, French fries, grease, and so on. But it doesn't bother me, it doesn't have any effect on my body. You would know that that is nonsense because everything counts. Everything counts. One of the marks of a truly honest person is that they accept reality. And reality is that everything that you do, mentally or physically, counts. And it's either positive, it's either helping you, moving you toward what you want to be and have and do, or it's negative, it's moving you away, but nothing is neutral. Everything counts. So with regard to the power of suggestion, let's go on and talk about how we complete this process of reprogramming ourselves so that inside we are totally successful human beings, so that outside we will be totally positive, enthusiastic, successful human beings. Feed your mind the same way you would feed your body. Feed your mind carefully. If you were concerned about physical health and longevity, you would measure and calculate and look into the foods you eat. Look carefully into the mental foods that you eat too. Because these mental foods, by a process that we call the law of accumulation. Now, the law of accumulation is both a mental law as well as a physical law. And what it says is that every single thing that you do, positive or negative, accumulates. That every single great achievement in life is the result of thousands of ordinary achievements, struggles, fallbacks, failures, minor disappointments. Every single big accomplishment is preceded by thousands of tiny little accomplishments. Every overnight success is preceded by years and years and years of working off-Broadway. Every single great fortune. By the way, in studying self-made millionaires in America, do you know what we found? Is the average time that it takes to become a millionaire in America is over 20 years of hard work. In other words, we see a person who is wealthy, got a beautiful home, beautiful car, financially independent, but we don't realize that there are years and years and years of hard work, struggle, and sacrifice that preceded it. We see the person, we see the end result, and we say, isn't that person lucky? Well, the fact of the matter is that there's no luck. There's just this long process of accumulation, and everything counts. Every single honest effort that you make toward becoming a better person accumulates like a snowball and has an effect. Every single time you do something that takes you away, that wastes your time, wastes your mind, wastes your thought, and so on, that has an effect too, and that accumulates. Now, the great mistake that many people make is they go a little bit forward and a little bit backward. They do a few things that are good for their mind and a few things that are crummy for their mind, and a few things that are good and a few things that are crummy. And you know where they end up? Exactly where they started. The good offsets the bad. What you have to do is you have to put yourself on the side of the angels so that your predominant intakes of mental food are positive and constructive and moving you in the direction that you want to go in. So, we say feed your mind. Number one is read. Only reading is reading. Many people today don't like to read, but all leaders are readers. All leaders are readers. Read, and try to read an average of 1 hour per day. We know that if you read 1 hour per day, over the course of the day in something that builds your mind, something positive and constructive that builds your mind. Not newspapers, not wasted things that just preoccupy your mind, but something that builds you and develops you. 1 hour per day can change your life. Research shows that 1 hour per day, in 2 to 3 years, you will be an authority on your subject, on studying any subject, from time management to nuclear physics. 1 hour per day will make you an authority. 3 to 5 years will make you an expert, and 5 to 7 years will make you an international authority, make you one of the most knowledgeable people in that field in the world, in just 1 hour a day in any subject. And you can pick anything from medicine to molecular biology. So read an hour per day. Recent study shows that the average adult in North America reads less than 1 book a year. That 58% of adults in the United States and Canada never finish a non-fiction book after they leave high school. When they leave high school, you know what they say? Or they leave university, they say, "Thank heavens this is over. I'll never read another book as long as I live." And they can't understand why they stop growing. It is only reading that causes your mind to stretch and grow. Conversation is good. Listening is good. Courses and classes are good. Watching videotape instruction is good, of course. But only reading is reading, and there's no substitute. People say, "Well, I'm not a good reader. I didn't learn to read well in school." Good. Then set that as one of your goals, to become an excellent reader. In 1 year of remedial reading at an evening course, you can be reading 300, 400, 500 words a minute, and it will change your life. In fact, according to the Gallup organization's poll on who's who in America, the Great American Success Story, they found that the top people, the top 1% in this country, read an average of 12 nonfiction books per year. That means that you can join the top 1% in the nation by simply reading 1 book per month. 1 nonfiction book that develops your mind and expands your ability to think in a subject that interests you. 1 book a month will put you in the top 1% in a very short period of time. If you were to read 30 to 60 minutes each day, as I'll recommend later, 30 to 60 minutes each day would translate into a book per week. A book per week would translate into over 50 books a year. Now just imagine if you were to read 50 books a year for the next 10 years. How many books would that be? That would be about 500 books, if you can work it out. Now let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think that if you read 1 book a week for the next 10 years, in a world where the average person reads less than 1 book a year, do you think that would give you the edge? Do you think that would affect your life in any way? Do you think that would change your career and your income? Do you think it would change your environment? Do you think it would change everything that goes on around you? You bet your bippy it would, because by the power of suggestion, by feeding your mind with new information, 500 books in 10 years will transform your life in such a way that you will never be able to recognize it. Right, the next thing with regard to feeding your mind is listen to tapes. The discovery of audio cassette learning has been considered the greatest single advance in education since the discovery of the printing press, or the invention of the printing press. Audio cassette learning brings the finest minds in the world with their finest thoughts thought out, scripted, edited, tightly compressed and put together into your hands for a few dollars a tape, and you can walk, travel, jog with some of the greatest minds alive for only a few dollars. Listen to tapes in your car. Do you know the average person who drives spends 500 to 1,000 hours a year in their car? 500 to 1,000 hours a year. The majority of those people sit there and listen to the radio. As we call radio, with all due respect to people in the radio industry, it's called chewing gum for the ears. Because it just goes on and on. 500 to 1,000 hours is the equivalent of 12 and a half to 25 40-hour weeks. You know what that means? It means that you are getting the benefit of, or could be getting the benefit of, as much as 12 and a half to 25 40-hour work weeks. Imagine if your company would send you away for 25 weeks to study every single year at no extra charge. Do you think that would affect your career and your earning capacity? That's the equivalent of 1 to 2 university semesters. Imagine if you were taking the equivalent of 1 or 2 university semesters of additional education every single year. Do you think that would affect your life? Yes, it would. So, listen to tapes and finally take additional courses. Become a lifelong student. And when I say take additional courses, the very best place to take courses is from people who are experts in their field. Try to avoid taking courses from people who've only got their education out of a textbook. Take courses from people who are experts. Take seminars. Seminars, for instance, like this seminar that you're attending, you can get more information in a 1 or 2 day seminar taught by people who spent 10, 20, 30 years gathering and compressing the information than you can in an entire university course. So take additional courses. I recommend a minimum of 4 per annum. 1 every 3 months. In a world where the average person never takes an additional course, 80 to 90% of people never take a course after they leave high school or university. If you take 4 per year, listen to tapes in your car and read on a regular basis. And by the way, where do you get the time for reading? Just don't read so much newspaper. Simple as that. Just cut back on the newspaper a little bit and expand the amount of self-development reading that you do. Where do you get time to listen to tapes? Just don't listen to so much radio. I'm not saying don't listen to the radio at all, but just don't listen to so much of it. Where do you get time to take additional courses? Instead of sitting around on the weekends, take a course. Instead of watching television in the evenings, go and take a course. But remember, the clock is running. If you want to get to the top of your field, if you want to be a leader, if you want to be a star in your field, knowledge is power. Knowledge today is more important than anything else. Knowledge is the great power in our society, and the more knowledge you have, the more practical knowledge that can be put to purposes that can help other people and benefit yourself and the people around you, the more knowledge you have, the more power you will have, the more self-esteem you will have, the more status, the more position, the more security, everything. The most insecure person in our society is the person who has stopped learning and growing, and they know it. All right. By the way, one other thing. According to the Harvard studies, one of the keys to self-motivation is perpetual growth. As long as you're growing and learning and feeding your mind with new material, you will be continuously motivated exactly as if you were taking psychological vitamins. As soon as you stop growing, you start stagnating. When you start stagnating, your self-esteem goes down, your energy level goes down, your health level goes down, you become prone to more diseases, and so on and so forth. So as long as you're learning and growing, you'll be vital physically and mentally. The next part of feeding your mind is what we call the reference group. Or put it another way, get around the right people. Get around the right people. Now, getting around the right people simply means this, is that when we talked about the power of suggestion, we said that about 85 to 95% of all of the influences in your life, all the reasons you do anything, is because of suggestive influences around you. Not only physical suggestions, the weather, the heat, the cold, and so on, but also the emotional suggestions, the impact of the people you associate with. And the more you associate with people, especially people in your family, people in your close social circle, people that you work with, the more you associate with these people, the more of an impact they have on your thinking and on your future. David McClelland found at Harvard University, after 25 years, he found that the choice of a reference group was one of the key determinants of success or failure in life. Now, a reference group are the people that you identify with. Remember we talked about identification? The people that you consider yourself to be one of. It's as simple as that. Who do you identify with? Well, let me give you an example. I was reading the story of a self-made millionaire not long ago, and he had started off as a young man when other kids were collecting baseball cards or football cards or hockey cards. He became fascinated with executives of Fortune 500 corporations. So he began reading his father's Business Week, Newsweek, Fortune magazine, Wall Street Journal, and he began keeping files on executives who were in the news. And he began to identify with those executives. He began to think about being in a Fortune 500 corporation, and he began to think about being an executive in a Fortune 500 corporation at a time when some people were thinking about being hockey stars or baseball stars. The interesting thing was that as he grew up, this directional mechanism, this role model, this reference group that he identified with began to affect what he read in school, what he studied, how much he applied himself, how hard he worked, what companies he went to work with, what company he went to work with when he came out of high school and university. And by the time he was 25 years old, he was an executive of a Fortune 500 corporation, one of the youngest executives of a Fortune 500 corporation in business history, but it's because he started at the age of 12 identifying with those. Question, who do you identify with? Now, whoever you identify with today, one of the things you have to ask yourself is, who would you like to be like? Who do you want to identify with? And then you start getting around the right people. The starting point of getting around the right people is to start to read the magazines that they read. If you want to be a successful person in business, read successful business magazines. If you want to be a top salesperson, read successful sales magazines, marketing magazines, books written by top salespeople. If you want to be a successful executive, if you want to be a successful marketer, if you want to be a successful parent, then begin getting around these people through their writings, through their tapes, and through their courses. The other thing is to seek them out and begin to associate with winners. As we say, fly with eagles. Now let me make one point here that's absolutely critical. It is simply this, is that if you scratch with the turkeys, you can't fly with the eagles. That if you spend time with losers, you will be a loser yourself. That David McClelland of Harvard found that 99% of the failure rate in life could be attributed to associating with people who were going nowhere. Because we're so strongly influenced by the people around us. We talk like them, we walk like them, we take on their attitudes, their values, their beliefs, their expectations, even their self-concepts. If we associate with negative people, critical people, cynical people, lazy people, people who waste their time, we will become exactly like them. Every one of us has the tendency to be like a chameleon. We take on the colorings and the behaviors of the people around us. So it's very important that you make a decision what you want to be like, and you begin to associate with people who are like that. And especially get away from the losers. Get away from the no-hopers. Get away from the negative people, because these people will drag you down as surely as an anchor would drag you down if it was tied to your leg. Many people come to me and say, well, I'm working for a negative boss, or I'm in a negative relationship. And I say this, if you're working for a negative boss, you'll never realize your potential working for that boss. You'll never be happy, and you'll never accomplish everything you're capable of accomplishing. They say, well, if I'm in a negative relationship, what do I do? I say, you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want to fulfill your potential as a human being or not? If you want to fulfill your potential as a human being, here's the facts. I'm not making the facts up. I'm just telling you, here's the facts. But if you associate with losers, you'll be a loser. And it's been worked out for 25 years, and they can't find any exceptions to it. And I've spoken to thousands of people who've told me that coming to terms with this is one of the hardest things that they ever did. Because sometimes it means that you have to say goodbye to family, say goodbye to friends, say goodbye to relatives, say goodbye to relationships. But if that is the fact, the sooner you do it, the better. It's almost like taking out a rotten tooth. The sooner you do it, the less pain you suffer. Now, with the next part with regard to reference group is this. It's what is called the Mastermind Alliance. And that is to pick one or two or more people in your environment whom you admire, who are positive, who are going places, who are ambitious, and start to get together with them at least once per week for breakfast or lunch just to talk. Get around them. Something about the fertilization and the synergy of positive minds coming together, talking about your problems, talking about your challenges, talking about the future, talking about what's going on. Try to get together with a mastermind alliance once a week. We have found in the research that I've done, the research that Napoleon Hill has done, that associating with other positive people is one of the triggering influences to peak performance. It's one of the guarantors that you will become a great success. You can't do it by simply associating by yourself. All right, now another way to influence your mind, very, very important, is start each day right. Start each day right. Now this is based on the fact that there are 2 times of the day when you are most suggestive, when your subconscious mind is most open to new information. And that is nighttime before you go to sleep, just when you fall off to sleep, and morning. These are the 2 times when your conscious mind is most relaxed and your subconscious mind is most alert. So you must use these times as what we call key programming opportunities to put new information into your mind. And this is what I suggest you do, and it's very, very powerful. Before you go to sleep at night, feed your mind with a stream of messages consistent with what you want to be and have and do the next day. In other words, program yourself for the next day, the same way you'd program a computer. And what I do is I lie down and I close my eyes and I say, I wake up in the morning, present tense, and I feel terrific. I wake up in the morning and I feel terrific. I wake up in the morning, I feel wonderful. I feel full of energy. I believe tomorrow is going to be a great day. I wake up in the morning and I feel terrific. And then when you get up in the morning, the first thing that you say, the first thought that you program into your subconscious computer is, I feel terrific. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. feel terrific. I feel terrific. What you do is you get up and you say it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you repeat it over. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. You don't get up in the morning and say, geez, I'm tired. Geez, I'm tired. Geez, I'm tired. Oh, God, I'm tired. You get up in the morning and say, I feel terrific. Somebody says, how you feeling? You say, I feel terrific. Even when you feel terrible, say, I feel terrific. You see, your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between a real fact and one that you vividly imagine. And if you repeat, I feel terrific, very loud, I feel terrific, try it yourself. I feel terrific, I feel terrific, I feel terrific. What happens is the subconscious mind believes that maybe you do feel terrific, and it will actually give you a surge of energy that will wake you up and clear your mind even before you have coffee. Now, the second thing that you do in the morning, this is number one. Second thing that you do to start your day off well is to read for 30 to 60 minutes. Get up early enough to read for 30 to 60 minutes in something that is motivational, something that is inspirational, something that is educational, something that uplifts your mind, what we call mental protein. Not newspapers, not magazine, not television, not radio. Get up in the morning, sit down, and read something really good for yourself. Read something that makes you feel really good about yourself and your day. I read spiritually oriented material every single morning. And this is called, by the way, the golden hour. If you will do this as a result of attending this seminar, if you will begin to read every morning for 30 to 60 minutes in something that uplifts your mind, this alone will be worth all the time you spend in this seminar. This habit of using the golden hour, the first hour in the morning when your mind is wide open to new information, using it constructively is one of the most powerful success techniques I've ever found in my entire life. I've had hundreds of people come back to me and say this has changed their life. Just getting up a little bit early so you can sit and read quietly. You will become so addicted to using that golden hour that you will not be able to do without it. Even if you have to get up tired, even if you have to get up long before you have to go to work, get up and milk that golden hour. Fill your mind full of rich mental protein, beautiful thoughts and ideas. Uplift your mind and you'll find that your whole day will go better. And the third step is review your goals every morning. Review your goals every morning. Every morning before you start out, review your goals. Just the same as if you were on a long motor trip, or if you were at sea, you'd look at the map. You'd shoot the stars and the moon. In other words, you'd take a look at where you are and you would plot your destination and you would think about it, because when you review your goals, you program them into your subconscious mind. Well, programming them into your subconscious mind by repeating them every day and using that wonderful technique, that golden hour. I learned this many years ago, and I've been absolutely astonished. Those 3 points: wake up in the morning and say, I feel terrific. Read for 30 to 60 minutes and write and review your goals every single morning. And the most remarkable thing that happens is you start off every day supercharged. You start off every day feeling positive. You start off every day feeling energetic. So let's just review for a second, and I'm going to wrap up with 2 really critical points. We talked about the power of suggestion. Remember that everything counts. Everything that you read, everything that you listen to, everything that you watch on television, every magazine that you pick up, every conversation that you have, positive or negative, is affecting your subconscious mind, which is programming your future. Remember, your external world is a reflection of your internal world. Your external world is a reflection of your internal world. If there is negativity, concern, anxiety, fear in your internal world, then it's going to be reflected in your external world. So be sure that what you're taking into your mental diet is just as pure as what you would take into a physical diet if you wanted to sustain high levels of physical health and energy. Absolutely important. Feed your mind with books. Feed your mind with tapes. Feed your mind with positive conversations. Feed your mind with courses. Go and attend them. Listen to experts. Feed your mind with positive people. If one of the recommendations that one of the business philosophers says is poor people should take rich people out to lunch. Why? Because taking a rich person out to lunch is an opportunity to learn from that rich person, to get information from that person that you could not buy at any price. Poor people should take rich people out to lunch. Get around the winners. Think about the winner that you want to be and look around you in your world and say, who is like the person that I want to be? Here's another very important point in terms of mental programming. It's simply this, is discard past labels. Discard past labels. Don't ever allow anybody to tag you with the way that you used to be. If you were late before, don't allow anybody to say, well, you're always late. You say no. You say, in the past, I was late, but now I am punctual. You can't control your eating. In the past, I overate, but now I eat sensibly and soundly. you're irritable and impatient. No, in the past I was, but now I am. These are the words. In the past I was. Past tense. In the past I was. Remember, the subconscious is listening, but now I am. But now I am blank, 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 whatever it happens to be. In the past, I didn't work very effectively, but now I am an effective worker. In the past, I didn't manage my time well, but now I manage my time well. Now, if you make a mistake and you fall back, then what you do is you just simply cancel the mistake by saying, well, next time, I'll. You show up late for an appointment, you say, well, next time, I'll be on time, etc. Next time, I'll. Those are the words. You cancel every mistake. You refuse to carry past labels forward. Underlining all this, teach others. Teach what you know to people who are interested. Teach what you know to people who are interested. Because remember, you become what you teach. You will find that the more you teach other people and share this information with other people, the more you internalize it yourself. You become what you teach. Does this material work? I can tell you, yes, it does work. Since I began to teach this material, since I began to lecture on it and tape on it, since I began to speak to hundreds and thousands of people, I have internalized all the things that we talk about in this course. And everything that I talk about here when I first began teaching, I hoped it worked, I thought it worked, I sort of believed it worked, but now I know it works. Having taught it, I've internalized it. Having internalized it, I have seen examples of every single bit of this. Back everything that you do with confident expectations. An attitude of confident expectations is the mark of the truly healthy personality. Remember we talked about the power of expectations? An attitude of confident expectations means that you confidently expect good things to happen. You have an attitude of positive self-expectancy. You become what W. Clement Stone calls an inverse paranoid. An inverse paranoid, as you know, a paranoid is a person who is convinced that the world is out to get him, that the whole world is conspiring to get him. An inverse paranoid is a person who is convinced that the world is conspiring to do him or her good. So become an inverse paranoid. Be absolutely convinced that the world has got a plot out there. It's plotting to do you good. It's plotting to somehow get good to you, whether you like it or not. That no matter what happens, look into it for the good. No matter what happens, this is the key to becoming an inverse paranoid. Look for the good. Expect the best and look for the good. Expect the best and look for the good. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that the measure of a healthy personality is your ability to look for the good in everything around you, your propensity to look for the good. You have to ask yourself, how much of the time do you look for the good? How much of the time do you expect the bad? The degree to which you look for the good is the degree to which you are healthy as a human being. And finally, remember this. The process of changing from where you are now, here's where you are, to here's your goal. This is where you want to go. The process of getting from here to here is progressive, but this is what happens. When you begin to visualize and affirm and imagine and write and plan your new self, that is, say you want to earn $50,000 a year, and you're currently earning $25,000 a year, and your goal is to earn $50,000 a year, what happens is this. You keep saying, you start to affirm and visualize over and over again, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year. Your subconscious mind disbelieves it. But as you say it over and over again, your subconscious mind still disbelieves it. But as you repeat it, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year, the disbelief shrinks, and your disbelief gets smaller and smaller. Eventually, you actually overcome your own skepticism, and finally you reach the position where you neither believe nor disbelieve. But as you keep repeating it and thinking about it and reading it and studying it and saying over and over again, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year, I earn $50,000 a year, eventually you start to believe it just a little bit. Also, you start to get a slight increase in pay, and your salary goes to $26,000 a year. And then you get a bonus and you find yourself earning $27,000, and so on. You find that the more you repeat it and affirm it and visualize it and plan for it and prepare for it, the more it comes into your life, and you just keep saying, I earn $50,000 a year, and you begin to believe it more and more, and you believe it more and more. And as you repeat it and visualize it and affirm it and over again, your belief grows and grows and grows, and eventually it gets to the point where you absolutely believe that you earn $50,000 a year. And if somebody were to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and give you a shake and say, how much do you earn? You say $50,000 a year, even though still at this point you've never earned more than $27,000 in your whole life. Now, this is the way all our beliefs change. We start off with where we are now. We look at where we want to be in the future, and we begin to feed our mind with new mental food consistent with where we want to be. As we feed our mind with that new mental food, we start off with a lot of disbelief and skepticism. As a matter of fact, your skepticism and disbelief is the biggest obstacle to your success. But as we repeat it over and over again, as we continue to work on ourselves and to work on the situation, we begin to believe more and more that it's possible. We begin to impress the possibility of it deeper and deeper into the subconscious. Now, in propaganda, this is called the big lie. The big lie theory was the discovery that if you repeated anything over and over again often enough, that even the most intelligent person would come to believe it. With regard to your life and to my life, this is called the big truth. The big truth is that you can be, have, and do anything that you want if you want it badly enough and are willing to make the efforts. That anything that you can hold in your mind on a continuing basis, you can be, have, or do. You will become what you think about. Your only job is to make a very, very clear decision about the person you want to be, the things that you want to have, the goals that you want to accomplish, and then make sure that you feed your mind continuously, day by day, week by week, hour by hour, with words, pictures, images, ideas, thoughts, and information consistent with your goals and your ideals. Keep your mind on what you want, keep it off of what you don't want, and everything is possible for you.